What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Thursday. And today isn't just Thursday, today is my birthday. I turned 28 years old, which is really insane, ladies and gentlemen, because I am about to turn 30 soon, man. But anyways, I am so thankful for another year of life. I am so thankful for really good health. I am so thankful for all of the people, especially, that have been there for me these past 28 years. And I am also thankful for all of the haters out there, because if it wasn't for you haters, I wouldn't be here standing strong today. Okay, so in your face, haters. Okay, so anyways, I still have a lot of good stuff to talk about, even though it is my birthday. So now let's get to it. Now let's start off with Kevin Federline. So Kevin Federline has dropped another bombshell Britney's way, claiming she did cocaine during the same time she was breastfeeding their kids. Okay, so in an excerpt from his new tell-all, You Thought You Knew, obtained by Variety, Federline recalls walking in on her, witnessing her doing coke, and getting into a huge fight that led to their divorce. So he claims she was supposed to be home with their sons Sean Preston and Jaden James, but showed up to his 2006 release party for Playing with Fire. And Kevin Federline got to say this: "As we reached the top of the venue, Jamie Spears, Britney's dad, was standing there." Federline writes, "I hadn't expected to see him, so I was happy he decided to come support me. He threw a look my way, shook his head, and motioned to my dressing room door. His expression sat in that flat blank space between disapproval and apprehension, as if to say, she's here and it's not good." Okay, so he continues, "The first thing I saw was Britney and her young starlet friend snorting a fat line of coke off the table." Federline alleges both were wearing these outrageous wigs. Britney's was electric blue. It was surreal. They didn't even try to hide it. So Kevin Federline was on TMZ Live just yesterday and talked about other issues in their marriage, including a secret call she made to her ex, Justin Timberlake, the night before the nuptials. So as for the night he allegedly caught Brit doing coke, in the book he says he begged her not to go home and breastfeed the kids like this. "Call your mom or someone. We need to get formula. You can't do this." So Britney's reps gave us a statement, TMZ a statement, yesterday with news from Kevin's book breaking. Once again, he and others are profiting off her, and sadly, it comes after child support has ended with Kevin. All she cares about are her kids, Sean Preston and Jaden James, and their well-being. During this sensationalism, she detailed her journey in her memoir. This is really deep, ladies and gentlemen, that Kevin Federline is over here alleging that Britney Spears did coke while she was breastfeeding her kids. Because first and foremost, if this actually happened almost 20 years ago, so why bring it up? Okay, and second of all, if it's actually true, let's just say that Britney Spears did such a thing, then Britney Spears should have definitely not done that, because that easily could have affected their kids. But thank God it didn't affect their kids, because as far as what I'm noticing, their kids are perfectly fine and they are living a normal lifestyle and so forth. But you know what? With all of this being said, true or not true that Britney Spears got to be breastfeeding while she was doing coke, I think that this is all a publicity stunt from Kevin Federline, because this happened almost 20 years ago. So therefore, I feel like he should have just kept his own damn mouth shut, move on, and that's it. But see, the reason to why he's doing this whole entire publicity stunt is because he wants the money, because he's no longer getting the child support from any of his kids, because his kids are now over the age of 18. That's the thing. And let's also remember that he's also pissed about the fact that Britney Spears has been making more money than him, because Britney Spears got to release a memoir not so long ago, telling it all about her life and telling it all especially of what she went through with her family and so forth. And let's also remember that this guy is very pissed about the fact that Britney Spears is getting all of the love and all the respect, and Kevin Federline is basically being seen as the villain because of the fact that I believe Britney Spears even got to say some things about Kevin Federline in her memoir a few years back. So this is all, what's it called? You get me, I'll get you back type of thing. And that's so darn evil. That's so darn slimy. I feel so bad for Britney Spears that she's still going through this, but I heard that Britney Spears, I believe, is already clapping back at Kevin Federline, by the way. And I believe that the stuff that Britney Spears got to say, by the way, was definitely not pretty, because since Britney Spears is that type of person that definitely, likes to, what's it called, be out there and, call attention and say it like it is, especially when it comes to people going after her. Um, Britney Spears got to say something like, you know, she got to say that it was all constant gaslighting. That's what she got to say. And basically, she got to say that she's over it. And then she also got to say that this is all just a bunch of gossip. And she also got to say that with one son only seeing me for 45 minutes in the past 5 years, and the other with only 4 visits in the past 5 years, I have pride too. From now on, I will let them know when I am available. Trust me, those white lies in that book, they are going straight to the bank, and I'm the only one who genuinely gets her here. Okay, so anywho, that is definitely the clapback that Britney got to say towards this guy, Kevin Federline. And guess what? I am so happy that Britney Spears got to clap back, because that definitely comes to show that first and foremost, Britney Spears has a bunch of bravery, and second of all, that comes to show that Britney Spears is basically trying to clean up her name, since all of these things that are being said about her are basically a bunch of things that might be lies. Okay? And since she got to say that all of this is going to the bank, it really sounds like it to me that Britney Spears might end up suing this guy for defamation for saying stuff like this. So anyways, from one problem to another problem to another problem is what's going on here with this poor woman. I am so sorry, Britney. Okay, but y'all, you have my support, Britney. You definitely do, and that is all I have to say about this. Now on to the next topic. So Rachel Ray stepped out for an appearance in New York City Wednesday after staying mostly hidden since last year's health scare. The celebrity chef, dressed in autumn brown from head to toe, wearing a bomber jacket and corduroy pants as she arrived for the Drew Barrymore show. So the 57-year-old cooking mogul sparked concern among her legions of fans last year when she posted a video where she talked about nearly killing the late Tony Bennett during dinner. So, while she's told a story about over-polishing her floor and nearly causing the legendary crooner to slip and fall, fans noticed her words running together, with some people, not doctors, claiming she showed signs of a mini-stroke, and others attributing it to her getting emotional while talking about her late pal. Okay, so Rachel returned to Instagram shortly after to share a beautiful-looking paella recipe, but she still hasn't addressed the slurring. Her appearance on the Drew Barrymore show is set to air tomorrow, by the way. This is really concerning that Rachel Ray was slurring a little bit while she was talking, because that's already showing some signs of a mini stroke, yes, and it's also showing some signs of other things. And I am hoping that Rachel Ray is doing perfectly fine, especially because of the fact that she did go through a health scare, I believe, last year, and that right there is already a sign too that maybe something could still be going on with Rachel Ray. I think that if Rachel Ray is actually going through something, I believe that Rachel Ray should definitely rest so well, and she should definitely go to the doctor super often, because I believe that's like the only way that she can actually make sure that she is actually keeping up well with her own health. Okay, and the fact that she's going to be on the Drew Barrymore show, to me, is going to be very amazing, because we're going to be seeing how Rachel Ray is, and we're going to, have an update on how she's been, and hopefully she won't be slurring when she's going to be in that interview with Drew Barrymore. And I can imagine that it's going to be, a whole entire BFF thing in between Rachel Ray and Drew Barrymore, because I think that Drew Barrymore and Rachel Ray are really good friends, and they've gotten along with each other for a while, especially because the both of them are, women in the talk show business. I believe that it was really insane, though, that she got to be over polishing her floor that nearly killed poor Tony Bennett one time. I believe that Rachel Ray should have definitely not done that, okay? I believe that Rachel Ray should have definitely just kept her floor the way it was, even though I completely understand that she wanted to keep her own home looking very nice and spotless. But anyways, um, yeah, so Rachel Ray is only 57 years old. She's still young. I think that she still has, a lot of immune, a lot of strength to still, go through, to still be strong enough to still survive for another, what, 20, 30, 40 years maybe, in my opinion. And also to still be active and to still be herself. I mean, I would be more concerned for her if she were to be in her, let's say, 80s, because I mean that is when when you can tell that somebody is already going through something very bad, when they are slurring and they are not being themselves anymore. And the reason to why is because when someone is in their 80s, I mean that is when unfortunately, um, that is when the immune system is already going very bad. That is when old people don't really have that strength anymore, unfortunately. So anyways, Rachel Ray, I send you my love, I send you my prayers that you are still doing okay, and that you get to be taking care of yourself if you are not doing okay right now. And please make sure that you are following doctor's orders, because that is the first thing that you should be doing in order to stay safe, stay well. Um, and yeah, I can't wait to see this interview in between Drew Barrymore and Rachel Ray. It's going to be very interesting, and I believe that Rachel Ray is going to be saying a lot of things that we have not known about her, and that we have not known about her recently, especially. So it definitely is an interview that none of us are going to want to miss. So, anyways, on to the next topic. So, Breaking Bad star RJ Mint is engaged. So, the actor best known for playing Walter Flynn White Jr. on the hit AMC series got down on one knee and asked his longtime girlfriend Kennedy Suarez to marry him, and she said yes. Okay, so he popped the question on Friday, Kennedy's 30th birthday. People reports the sweet moment went down at the 56th annual Dia del Sol 2025 fundraising gala benefiting the United Cerebral Palsy of San Diego. RJ has cerebral palsy and is an official ambassador for the organization. Okay, so RJ and Kennedy dated for 5 years, but were friends for 10 years. Before that, people reports they decided to take their relationship to the next level during a trip together when they both realized they had grown feelings for one another. So they're not wedding planning yet, but the actor tells people he's thrilled to have found his life partner and is looking forward to starting this exciting new chapter together. Okay, so while he's most known as Flynn from Breaking Bad, RJ has continued acting in film and TV, most recently appearing in the 2025 drama West Hampton. He's also heavily involved in his family's charity, the Mint Foundation, which supports marginalized communities in Texas. So this is really amazing that RJ Mint got engaged, because this just comes to show that he really wants to have a serious life with his own girl. And, he basically wants to live a really good life, and he wants to make sure that he is having that life of his own with his own girl, especially. And that's like the best feeling ever. Okay, I think that things are gonna work out. I can say that they both look really happy. They look really committed to one another. They don't look like the kind of people that are willing to be cheating on one another and that are willing to be very abusive towards one another. Absolutely not. And what's even more amazing is that I believe that this whole entire relationship took some time before the engagement happened, which means that they really knew what they were putting themselves into before getting into this engagement. And now they're like, you know what, we're going to take it once at a time. We're going to take it basically a little while for us to think about marriage before getting into the wedding planning. So that way our whole entire relationship can work smoother, because here's the thing. If RJ Mitt is going to be thinking of getting married to this girl now that he got engaged to this girl, I think it would definitely go very crazy with the wedding planning, and from there it would be a whole entire chaos where they would be like, okay, well, I'm not sure if this should work out for this wedding of ours, or if this should work out, or if that should work out. And then, Kennedy might be like, oh no, but this does work out, or that does work out, and no, it doesn't. And it would be a whole entire disagreement. And then it would just, create so much chaos. And if they're going to be taking their time for marriage, then, I feel like it'll definitely create something where they will, plan well on how their marriage is going to be. I mean, they're not going to be planning the wedding, but they're going to be planning on how the wedding is going to be in the future, if that makes sense. And they're going to be like, okay, well, when we get into that final stages of planning, we're definitely going to be doing this to our wedding, we're going to be doing that to our wedding, and there's not going to be any fighting or disagreements in between us, and it's going to be all good with our own marriage. I mean, that's what I sense, which is the reason to why I believe that it was a really good idea for RJ Mitt and Kennedy Suarez to not be wedding planning just yet, now that they got engaged. So I really do understand what is going on here, and I am so happy for RJ Mitt, and I am so happy for Kennedy Suarez that they are now engaged. And you know what? I think that they both are really gonna nail it off forever. That I can tell. So, anywho, congrats to them. Now on to the next topic. So unfortunately, D'Angelo passed away this past Tuesday, and man, it was so freaking sad. And a lot of people, of course, were mourning his death, and apparently D'Angelo's family released a statement following his death. The shining star of our family has dimmed his light for us in this life. After a prolonged and courageous battle with cancer, we are heartbroken to announce that Michael D'Angelo Archer, known to his fans around the world as D'Angelo, has been called home, departing this life today, October 14th of 2025. We are saddened that he can only leave dear memories with his family, but we are eternally grateful for the legacy of extraordinarily moving music he leaves behind. We ask that you respect our privacy during this difficult time, but invite you all join us in mourning his passing while also celebrating the gift of song that he has left for the world. So Grammy-winning R&B soul singer D'Angelo is dead from pancreatic cancer, TMZ has learned. Okay, so the brown sugar singer-songwriter died Tuesday morning in New York City, according to sources connected to his family and his former manager, Keter Messenberg. So apparently D'Angelo had not been public about his cancer battle, and apparently he wanted to keep it very private. And he was under treatment for several months, by the way. So this is really unexpected, and this is very sad that poor D'Angelo passed away, and especially of pancreatic cancer, man. We were just very in shock. We were very saddened having to learn that all of a sudden he passed away. And what's even more shocking to us is that D'Angelo was very young when he passed away. I believe he was like in his 50s when he passed away. He was only 51. But unfortunately, that just comes to show how much of a bitch cancer is, that it'll affect just everyone regardless of age, and it'll affect them to the point that they will lead to death. And it's just one of those things where D'Angelo was, trying to take care of himself. He was under treatment. He was fighting for his own life. He wanted to make sure that he was there for his family still, and that he was there for his fans still, and so forth. But unfortunately, cancer was more strong than him. And it's also a situation where he was like, okay, well, maybe if I get to go under treatment privately, and if I don't get to be telling anybody about my whole entire cancer diagnosis, and I make it out alive from all of this, I'll pretend like nothing ever happened, and especially towards my fans, so that way my fans won't have to worry about me at all, and we can just live life like whatever. I think that was his whole entire plan as to why none of us knew about his whole entire pancreatic cancer, and none of us knew about his treatments that he was going through. But man, he was very known. He was very loved. He was an icon, man. He dated back to like the 70s, 80s, I believe, and 90s. And he is like forever gonna be the king of R&B. I don't think that there's gonna be another D'Angelo, and especially because he collabed with very good artists like Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, Q-Tip, um, and he got to burst onto the scene in 1995 with his solo debut album Brown Sugar. So basically, he dates back to the 90s, not the 80s or 70s, not the 80s or 70s. But yeah, so he collabed with a lot of legends, and he was someone that was basically one of the pioneers, I guess, of R&B. So, anywho, if there wasn't for D'Angelo, I don't think that we would have these successful R&B artists that we have today, like Mary J. Blige, like I don't know, The Weeknd, and many others. So, anyways, may D'Angelo rest in peace. Now, that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely episode of The Jose Show. Till next time.